Hi, this is Richard Fields with Reports from the Fields. As you may have heard, the U.S. House of Representatives recently passed a bill that would give ByteDance, the Chinese company that owns TikTok, about 6 months to divest itself of TikTok, or the platform would be banned. President Biden says he will sign it if it reaches his desk. The bill is now in the Senate. Naturally, I was curious about what the legislation actually says, so I searched for text of the legislation banning TikTok on Brave, DuckDuckGo, and as a last resort, Google. There are dozens of stories saying the bill passed, but going 2 or 3 pages into the search results does not reveal the actual language. I had to go to X, formerly Twitter, to get this snippet of the bill. The broad language of this bill can allow a president to designate any application or website, quote, controlled by a foreign entity, end quote, and ban its access to American consumers. That's pretty broad language that is effectively being hidden from the American public. Like if the president decides that Twitter is controlled by that South African Elon Musk, he could ban it? Yeah, I know that's a stretch, but BS evidence of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, for instance, led to the U.S. spending $8 trillion, or nearly $25,000 for every man, woman, and child in the United States, not to mention 900,000 deaths. Predicting that when the never-ending authorization of military force bill was being debated would have been a bigger stretch. Make no mistake, this bill is a censorship bill, pure and simple. Even the major argument made for the ban is pro-censorship, censoring China. For what it's worth, the text of the First Amendment is still relatively easy to find. It says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. You noted that part about Congress making no law abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, right? If banning TikTok is not a clear example of abridging freedom of the press, words have lost all meaning. What are we hearing from the legacy media and all social media platforms save X and TikTok itself? Crickets. They've all long since made their own deal with the devil, parrot the government line on in exchange for light regulation and being first in line to get hot news tips. Even the supporters of this legislation are reduced to arguing hypotheticals. China is maybe spying on TikTok users, or China is propagandizing our youth. They may be spying. There is no hard evidence, but it could be happening. Sort of like what Facebook does to us all the time and then forwards the information to the U.S. intelligence agencies. And spreading ideas that disagree with the government narrative is kind of why freedom of the press exists in the first place. Back in the days before the internet, the government had de facto control over the big 3 networks and the New York Times. It was able to control the narrative pretty much completely. The freedom of expression that blossomed on the early internet took that away. The political class is desperately trying to get it back. If you actually think it will make a difference in the Senate vote, call your senator, former SEIU labor leader and Emily's List president, LaFonza Butler, or former LA City Council member, Alex Padilla. Both, by the way, appointed by Governor Gavin Newsom. Good luck. This is Richard Fields with Report from the Fields. See you next week.